Nested if statements are used if you have multiple decisions that you need to make. They have multiple branches for your if-else logic. So let's say, for example, if I'm calculating students' grades, and based on their grade, I need to give a letter grade that's associated with it. In this case, anything greater than 90, greater than or equal to 90, will be an A. Anything greater than or equal to 80 is a B. Greater than or equal to 70, C. Greater than or equal to 60 is a D. Anything below a 60 that hasn't been caught by these others will be an F. So let's look at the logic for that and the code. For the code, you'll start with your if. Remember, that has to be lowercase. The grade is greater than or equal to 90. And remember, you have to have a colon after the if and after any of the else if statements. And then we're going to give that a letter grade if it's greater than or equal to 90. We'll go to the next step, and elif is else if, so that's the syntax in Python. The grade is greater than or equal to 80. Well, you may wonder, okay, so anything greater than or equal to 80 could be a 92, right? So the logic of this statement in the way we have it formatted is that if the grade is 92, it's going to be caught by this one. It will go ahead and give it a letter grade of A and then skip out of the if function. Okay, so the way we formatted it is if a grade is greater than the bottom of or the top of the next range, then it will catch that in another if statement. So we'll go through a couple of examples. So you can see the logic of this as far as how it's going to go through each one. So let's say the grade is a 62. We'll go through here. It's not greater than or equal to 90, so it'll skip to the next F. It does not execute that line. It's not greater than or equal to 80, so it will skip to the next else if. We'll see if it's greater than 70. It is not. So therefore, if the grade is greater than or equal to 60, you've already bypassed that it's not equal to 70 or above. So in this example, it's going to catch it here, and the letter grade will be a D, and then it will skip out of the execution of the if-else statement. Okay, so notice the ones in between are else if, elif, and the last one is else. When you go through the programming logic, let's say it's a 59 for the grade. It's going to skip this one, go down to the next one, skip this one, go to the next one, skip, skip, because it doesn't meet any of these criteria. It will go to the last if and automatically give it a letter grade of F, since the grade did not meet any of these other criteria. Okay, so that's how that if function will work. Now, technically, you could look at it the opposite way and say if the grade is less than or equal to 59, you would give them an F. If it's greater or less than or equal to 69, it's a D, and so forth. So let's say, for example, the grade is a 70. So if this was in your statements like it was here, it would not meet this criteria because it's not less than that. It would not meet this criteria. So then it would go to this one and it would say, okay, it's less than or equal to 79. If it was anything that met 69 or below, it's already been caught by this one. So it would meet this criteria and the letter grade would be a C. If your letter grade is a 92, then this would be skipped, this would be skipped. It does not meet the criteria of any of these, so otherwise it must be a 90 or above, so it's going to pull in an A for the letter grade of that student. Let's look at another example. This is one for anniversaries. So your anniversary number of years that you've been married, sometimes they'll say that it's a silver anniversary, a golden anniversary, and so forth. So in this case, we're going to look at the number of years that you've been married. And remember, you're going to use, since it's an if statement, use the double equal sign to mean equal. If the number of years is 1, then you're going to print great, it's your first year. If it's 10, you'll print that it's a whole decade, impressive, 25, silver anniversary, 50, golden anniversary. And if it's anything outside of that, it will print nothing special. Now, notice the syntax of the else if. You have the EL if, the if and else if, and the else are all lowercase. You have a colon after the if, and else statements. So for example, here, if the number of years you've been married is 10, then it's going to compare this one. It's not true, so it will skip this statement, go directly to the next one. If number of years is 10, it's going to print a whole decade, impressive. So you can see the logic there for that one. In this example, you want to look at this code, which is an employee bonus. And if they have number of sales is 0, then they don't get a bonus. If the number of sales is 1, and I'm assuming this is categories of the number of sales. So for example, the number of sales could be a range from 1,000 to 5,000, and they would code that as a 1. So if the number of sales is 1, then the bonus is going to be category 2. If the number of sales is 2, then the employee bonus is 5. So that's the highest. So, maybe the number of sales was 10,000 to 15,000, and they get category 5 bonus, which could be a $500 bonus, for example. Else, if if it doesn't meet any of these other criteria, the bonus will be 10. So you can see again in the output there. Let's go over an example here. If the number of sales is 2, it's going to go through here. It's not true. It's not 0. Here it's not 1, so that's false. We'll go to the next if statement. Here it's 2, so the employee bonus will be 5. So just a couple of examples to familiarize you with that nested if statement that has multiple branches.